Right now, thousands of UK drivers are getting fines they never saw coming. Not for speeding, not for dangerous driving, just for not knowing the rules had already changed. And here's the scary part. Most of them had no idea until the letter landed on their doormat. This video is going to make sure that doesn't happen to you, because 2026 is shaping up to be one of the biggest years for UK driving law in a generation. Some of these changes are already in force. Others kick in within weeks, and every single one of them could affect your wallet, your license, or your freedom to drive. Let's start with the change that blindsided the most people. And it happened on New Year's Day. If you drive an electric vehicle, you probably bought it partly because of the savings, lower fuel costs, cheaper road tax, and if you drove in London, free access to the congestion zone. That deal is gone. As of the 25th of December 2025, yes, Christmas Day, the full 100% exemption for electric cars in the London congestion charge zone officially ended. EV drivers who rolled into the new year expecting free access instead got hit with charges from day 1 of January 2026. Here's what you're now paying. The congestion charge has risen to $9 per day. Electric cars receive a 25% discount under the autopay scheme, which still leaves you paying $6.75 every single day you enter the zone. That's over $1,600 a year if you commute daily. Electric vans and heavy goods vehicles do get a 50% discount, but free access? That's history. And if you thought road tax was still off the table for EV owners, think again. From April 2025, all electric vehicles entered the vehicle excise duty system, what most of us just call road tax. If your EV was registered from April 2025 onwards, you'll pay $10 in year 1, then $195 every year after that. If your EV was registered between 2017 and 2025, you're already paying $195 a year right now. The zero-cost era of electric driving is over. The question is whether you've updated your budget to reflect that. That covers the here and now. But March 2026 brings a wave of changes that will affect drivers at every stage of life, from first-time learners to drivers in their 70s. Let's talk about older drivers first, because this is one that's generating a lot of anxiety and a lot of confusion. From this month, March 2026, the DVLA is rolling out updated license renewal rules specifically for drivers age 70 and over. And before the worry sets in, here's what this is not. It is not a compulsory driving test at age 70. That is a myth, and it has been circulating online for years. There is no automatic retest requirement. Your license does not get taken away just because you've hit a milestone birthday. What is changing is the renewal process itself, which you must complete every 3 years from age 70. The medical self-declaration forms are becoming clearer and more detailed. Digital identity checks are being strengthened, and there is sharper scrutiny of specific medical conditions. Things like vision problems, insulin-dependent diabetes, neurological conditions, and cardiovascular issues. Your GP now has updated guidance on how to report concerns to the DVLA if they arise. None of this sounds alarming on its own, but here's the part that people keep missing. If you fail to declare a relevant medical condition during your renewal, you could face a fine, and more seriously, your insurance could be invalidated, not reduced, invalidated. If you were ever involved in an accident while driving on an undisclosed condition, you could be personally liable for costs that run into the tens or even hundreds of thousands of pounds. So if you're approaching 70, or you already renew every 3 years, put your next renewal date in your diary today. Be honest on those forms. Don't assume that because you feel fine, everything is fine on paper too. The system is now checking more carefully than ever before. Now, right alongside that, there's a change in March that affects every driver on UK roads, not just those renewing their license. The new 26 number plate launched this month for all newly registered vehicles. You might think that's a footnote, but connected to that launch is something that genuinely matters. Authorities, including the police, are rolling out significantly more ANPR cameras, that stands for automatic number plate recognition, across the country. And these aren't just sitting on motorways anymore. They're appearing on local roads, residential streets, town centers. Here's how they work. The camera reads your plate automatically and checks it against national databases in real time. No officer needed. No being pulled over. If your vehicle tax is expired, your MOT has lapsed, or your insurance isn't valid, the system flags you instantly. You might not even know it happened until a letter arrives. In 2024, the DVLA reported that over 1.4 million vehicles on UK roads were uninsured. That is not a small number. And with smarter, faster, wider camera networks rolling out through 2026, the chances of slipping through undetected are dropping fast. So take 2 minutes right now, or right after this video, and go to gov.uk. You can check your vehicle's tax status, MOT, and insurance in under 5 minutes. It costs nothing. And it could save you a fixed penalty notice, points on your license, or worse. Ignorance genuinely is not a legal defense. The camera doesn't know you forgot. It just knows you're non-compliant. Now, if you or someone you know is in the middle of learning to drive, what I'm about to tell you is urgent, because the deadline is at the end of this month. The driving test booking system in the UK has been broken for years. Anyone who's tried to get a test slot recently knows exactly what I mean. Waiting times stretch to 6, 7, 8 months in some areas. Why? Because bots and third-party companies were hoovering up test slots the moment they became available, then reselling them at inflated prices to desperate learners. Some slots were being sold for hundreds of pounds over their official cost. The government is cracking down on that hard. From the 31st of March 2026, if you have a driving test booked, you will only be allowed to make 2 changes to that booking. 2 changes total. Want to move the date? That's 1. Change the time? That's 2. You've used your allocation. And from later in spring, you won't be able to rebook at a distant test center anymore. You'll only be offered centers near your original booking location. On top of that, from spring 2026, only the learner driver themselves can book and manage their own test. Driving instructors will no longer be able to do it on a learner's behalf. This is designed to cut off the reseller market at the root. If you are learning right now, or if your child, grandchild, or anyone you care about is learning, share this video with them before the end of March. 2 changes. Use them carefully, and book your own test yourself. The test itself is also changing, and in ways that are more demanding than before. The independent driving section of the practical test is doubling in length. It currently runs for around 10 minutes. From spring 2026, it will be 20 minutes. That's the portion where the examiner stops giving you turn-by-turn instructions and you navigate entirely on your own, using a sat-nav or road signs. 20 minutes of real-world driving decisions with no safety net. That change alone reflects something important about what driving actually requires today. It's not just about executing maneuvers on command. It's about managing attention, making judgment calls, staying composed when the route isn't obvious. If you're preparing for your test, that section needs to be the focus of your practice. The emergency stop is also becoming less common in tests, appearing in roughly 1 in 7 tests rather than the current 1 in 3. And there's a genuinely exciting addition to the theory test. Learners will now be tested on CPR technique and how to use an automated external defibrillator, an AED. These are the devices you see on the walls in train stations and shopping centers. Most people walk past them without knowing how to use one. The fact that new drivers will now be taught this as part of their licensing process could genuinely save lives. If your instructor hasn't covered this yet, ask them directly. It will be in your test. Those are the confirmed changes, but 2 more are moving through the consultation process right now, and every driver needs to understand where they're heading. England and Wales currently have one of the highest drink-drive limits in Europe. The legal limit sits at 80 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood. Scotland already reduced its limit to 50 milligrams back in 2014. The government is now consulting seriously on matching that lower limit across England and Wales. What does 50 milligrams actually mean in practice? It means that for many people, a single glass of wine or a pint of beer the evening before could leave you over the limit the following morning. Not because you're impaired, not because you feel it, but because alcohol processes through different bodies at different speeds, and the chemistry doesn't care about how sober you feel. The only genuinely safe approach if this goes through, and frankly even before it does, is not to drink on any night before you plan to drive. Not even a small amount, not even just one. The risk is not worth it. The other pending change involves seatbelts. Right now, failing to wear a seatbelt can result in a fine of up to $500. The new proposal would add 3 penalty points on your license, 3 points for not buckling up. To put that in context, that's the same penalty as a minor speeding offense. And if you're a new driver in your first 2 years, 6 points means your license is automatically revoked. 2 seatbelt offenses and you're back to square one. These proposals haven't been confirmed yet, but the direction is unmistakable. Enforcement is getting tougher across the board, and that connects to something bigger that's worth stepping back to understand. Everything we've talked about today, the congestion charge changes, the license renewals, the new test structure, the pending drink drive limit, the seatbelt points, none of it is random. It's all part of a single overarching strategy. In 2025, the government published a new national road safety plan with one headline target: dramatically reduce road casualties in the UK by 2035. To hit that target, every lever is being pulled at once: smarter enforcement technology, stricter driver testing, tighter medical declaration requirements, harsher penalties for complacency. From November 2026, all new cars and vans will need to meet Euro 7 emission standards, the most demanding yet. And looking further ahead, from April 2028, electric vehicle owners will begin paying a mileage-based excise duty, around 3 pence per mile driven, checked at your annual service. If you're buying an EV today, that's a real cost to factor into your long-term calculations. There is also the quiet rollout of the digital driving license. The government's gov.uk wallet app will eventually allow drivers to carry their credentials on a smartphone. A pilot launched in late 2025, with full rollout expected by 2027. Your physical license remains fully valid. Nothing changes there yet. But as the system becomes more digital and more interconnected, outdated records create real problems. A mismatch between your home address and your DVLA record, for example, can cause complications with enforcement, insurance, and renewals that are entirely avoidable. Check your DVLA record. Make sure everything on it is current. Let me give you the short version of everything we've covered, because this is your action list. If you drive an electric vehicle in London, check your autopay registration today. The 25% discount only applies if you're registered for autopay. Otherwise, you're paying the full rate. If you're 70 or approaching 70, get proactive about your license renewal and medical declarations. Don't wait to be prompted, and be accurate on those forms. The consequences of not being are serious. Check your vehicle tax, MOT, and insurance status on gov.uk right now. ANPR cameras are smarter and more widespread than ever, and they will find non-compliant vehicles automatically. If you or someone close to you is learning to drive, understand the new booking rules before the 31st of March. 2 changes, that's the limit. And from spring, only the learner can manage the booking. Start building your independent driving confidence. 20 minutes of unguided navigation is a genuine test of real-world skill, not just technique. And finally, stay with us. The drink drive limit, the seatbelt penalty points, and the expanding AI speed enforcement network are all developing, and we will cover every confirmed update as it lands. The roads are changing. The rules are tightening, the cameras are getting smarter, but you just spent 11 minutes making sure you're ahead of all of it. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between a fine you never saw coming and a journey that costs you exactly what it should. Stay informed, stay legal, and stay safe.